Hey, let me ask you something, Mama. When was the last time you took care of yourself without feeling guilty? Not because you had to, not because you were sick, you were feeling down and out, or you had reached your breaking point, but simply because you recognize for yourself that you matter too. Because if we're being honest, a lot of moms are running on fumes. You hear me? We're taking care of everybody else, checking on everybody else, pouring into everybody else, and then wondering why we're exhausted, why we're overwhelmed and feeling disconnected from ourselves. So, today we're talking about self care. And no, we're not just talking about bubble baths and spa days, although that is wonderful. We're talking about physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual self care because you cannot pour from an empty cup. When we return. Well, hello and hey, Mama. Welcome back to another episode of the Making of a Mompreneur show. I am Rashida Green, the Digimompreneur, the founder and CEO of Get Right Coaching, the host of the wonderful MompreneurHQ community, and the creator of the Digimompreneur Academy, where we help moms who are determined to find time, money, and location freedom to start, grow, and scale online businesses so that they can build the life of their dreams without neglecting themselves or their families in the process. And we do that through a number of ways, and mainly through coaching, content, community, and the Digimompreneur Academy. So if you are joining us live, make sure you put hashtag live and where you're tuning in from. So it would look something like hashtag live New Jersey. And it could be hashtag live New York Knicks. But, I digress. So if you are watching the replay, go ahead, put hashtag replay. We still love you. Thank you so much for watching the show. So we're talking today about um, mind, body, and boundaries. Self-care for the mom who has what? Who wears many, 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 many hats. And we've talked about business, we've talked about faith, and we've talked about family. And now we're moving into the final pillar of the BFFs. That's if you didn't know, the BFFs are the pillars that we have in our community: business, faith, family. And now we're moving on to self-care. And so today's topic is mind, body, and boundaries, self-care for the mom who wears many hats. And I think it's fitting that self-care comes last, because if we're not careful, that's exactly where we put ourselves last. But here's what I've learned: taking care of yourself isn't selfish, it's stewardship. Now, that's right. We put a God spin on it because, some of y'all don't listen unless it got a God spin on it, right? So that is what we're talking about. It's taking care of yourself is not selfish. It is stewardship, because the healthier you are, the better you're able to show up for your faith, your family, and your business. I think many moms secretly believe that self-care is a reward. Now, if you're one of them, I'm not trying to shame you. I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, but something within us just feels like, this is a reward. This is something that we're working towards, something that we'll get to eventually after a launch, or after life slows down, or after the house is clean, and after everybody else's needs are met. But self-care is not a reward. It's not something you earn. It's maintenance. And somehow we understand maintenance everywhere else. Come on now. Everywhere else we understand maintenance, except for when it comes to ourselves. We maintain our cars. Why? Because if we don't maintain our cars, we'll end up on the side of the road because something's going to break down. We charge our phones every night. Why? Because we know if we don't charge our phones, when we wake up in the morning, we won't have a working phone. So we know we have to charge the phones. We update our software. Why? Because outdated software will not work. You'll have something that's out, old, stale, only runs, provides a certain limited amount of information, or it just won't work at all. So we know that when we get those messages about new updates, to go ahead and update. But somehow we expect ourselves to run continuously with no rest, no replenishment, and no boundaries. How sway? And then we wonder why we're stressed out and exhausted, and that's what happens. Eventually, exhaustion catches up. Mark 6:31 says, "Come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest." Even Jesus recognized the importance of rest. Come on, seventh day. If Jesus rested, then who are we to believe that we don't need to? Where'd that come from? Where'd that ideology come from? We don't need no rest. And I hear people say, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Like, that's not a badge of honor that we need to be recognizing, because what can happen is that you'll literally be dead in due time, right? Because you're wearing yourself out. You're not getting the proper rest. You're not getting the replenishment and the treatment that you need. So that's not a motto that I want to really, rest when I'm dead. That's not something I really want to, repeat and hold like a badge of honor and feel like, no, I got to keep going, got to keep pushing, got to keep hustling. No, physical self-care is not vanity. It's energy management. So we're going to start with the body, because sometimes we're praying for strength. Oh God, give me strength to make it through. When what we really need help with, or what we really need, is sleep. Right? You're praying for strength to keep going in your tiredness, when really what you need is sleep. Sometimes we're asking God for more energy. Oh gosh, I need more energy. I'm so tired. I'm so drained. Meanwhile, we're surviving on coffee and skipping meals. How does that work? And mama, again, this is not about perfection. We talk about this in this community. It is not about perfection. It is not about being the best and hustling so hard that you fall out, have a stroke. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it's about paying attention to your body, hydration, movement, sleep, fresh air. Come on, good walk, regular checkups. And I have to tell you, I'm ashamed to say, when I tell you I'm talking and I'm sharing these messages and these lessons and sessions and mom lives with you, it is not from a place of perfection or, oh, I've arrived, or I've done this and I'm past that. No, sometimes I am literally talking to myself. Like the topics, sometimes when I pick them, I'm picking topics that apply to me, that I've struggled with, am struggling with, or will struggle with. Simply because I am a mom. I wear many hats. I do many things, and I get bogged down with so much stuff sometimes that I'm also forgetting about my self-care. And when I realized that I went pretty much a whole year without a doctor's visit, not because I've been so well, but hey, first of all, if I'm paying for doctors and I'm paying for all these insurances, I need to be using them. That's number one. You see these beautiful glasses? I love these glasses, but they are now going on their second year. And normally I get glasses annually because insurance pays for them annually, right? So when I'm talking about those regular check-ins and you need to be getting those, I'm talking about myself, okay? But I wanted to share with you, just in case I had any partners in crime in this situation. But again, paying attention. So many things are going on. I made sure the kids got to their doctor's appointments, the dentist appointments, the orthodontist appointments, and making sure the kids got their physicals. Lo and behold, who didn't get those things? So because we really do have to start paying attention to ourselves. Self-care. I did make it to the spa, but again, self-care goes beyond just spa visits. Talking about nutrition and that fupa that just don't want to go anywhere because I'm Sometimes I'm a little sedentary and I'm just not doing all the things that I need to do for myself. Again, I'm talking to myself, like how you say, I'm talking to the choir. Yes, I am talking to me right in this situation. But I just really do want to impart upon you that all of these things, they matter because your body is carrying a lot, and taking care of it is not just so that you can say you look good that you look good and you're cute. And hey, I'm down for the fabulous and 50 crew, right? I want to be fierce and 50. But if at the end of the day, all you got is the cover up and your physical body is just about to fall apart, then that ain't healthy either. So it's definitely not about vanity. It's about stewardship. You only get this one body. You got to be able to take care of it. And if God is to use you in the kingdom, that one body needs to be fit, right? Because one of the things that, people will say as far as the prosperity ministry, and I'm not getting into that conversation, that debate, but one of the things about prosperity, I'm not talking about finances, is also health. You need to be in good health. If people are always seeing you in a poor condition, and that your health is always breaking down, and that you always have and that you always have an ailment. Now, there are such things as chronic diseases and chronic illnesses. I am not talking about that. But when you're not taking care of your body and your body is breaking down on you, think in terms of stewardship. If God has given you a purpose and he's trying to get you to a level and a place, if you are not taking care of your body, are you going to be able to make it to the purpose that he's intended to? You may, because he's intended it, but in what shape and in what condition? Right? You have to be able to take care of your body, because when people see you, you want them to see Christ. You don't want to see broken down body that's also weak and can't do much. And then saying, well, God is still good. He is. I'm not saying that he's not, but he also gives us free will. And with that free will, we want to be able to make sure that we are taking care of the temple that God has given us so that he can get the glory in our lives. Amen. You don't need to train for a marathon. Maybe self-care today just looks like a walk. Every now and again, I'll get out there and walk. Maybe it's drinking water. I got my little a wallow, trying to get more water, especially now as it's getting in the hot season, and start sweating. You need to replenish and get hydrated. And for me, maybe it's just scheduling the doctor's appointments that I've been putting off. These small things, they really matter. So make sure that you are taking care of the physical body so that you can get to the purpose that God has for you. But I don't want you to stop there. Mental self-care means learning to pause. Can we talk about mental clutter? Because it's all up in here. It's all up in here. Mental self-care means learning to pause, because some of us aren't physically tired. We are mentally tired. Thinking about the business, thinking about dinner, thinking about paying the bills, thinking about how we're going to pay the bills, thinking about the email we forgot to send, or thinking about the tomorrow before we've even finished the day. And our brains, they just never get a break. Think about it. When you lay down to go to sleep, about how long does it take you to go to sleep? Can you go right away? Or do you have to wind down first because your brain is on go? Are you thinking, when you lay down to go to bed, are you thinking about 17 other things, 10 of which you forgot to do today or didn't have time to do today, and 7 of which are for tomorrow already you're thinking about and planning out? You may even be you may not even be sleeping well because of those thoughts, because your brain is constantly going and has not had an opportunity to stop. You probably are not into it getting a deep REM sleep because your brain is not able to go to sleep. And the sleep is actually restoration to the body. That's when it's doing work in slow motion to heal your body, replenish your body, restore your cells, and all that good stuff. Even digestion. If you're going to eating right before bed, your body is working. So even though you may not be physically thinking about anything or mentally thinking about anything, your body is still thinking, because it has to move use this digestive system, because you decided to eat right before you went to bed. I mean, these are just things that we have to think about, not think about, because we're talking about mental self-care. But, these are things that come up when it comes to mental health care. And that's why I love techniques like the Pomodoro Method. We've talked about it before in this community, but it's basically where you set a timer. In most cases, is you work for 25 minutes and then you rest for 5 minutes. Then you repeat those steps, work another 25 minutes. Now you can work 25 minutes and then break on the same project, or decide to do a different project in the next 25 minutes. And this is not something that you do because you're lazy. It's something that you do because your mind needs rhythms. And sometimes the most productive thing you can do is take a break. It's that constant go, 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 go is going to keep your brain going. And that mental load becomes very heavy. So if you think you can take a walk in 5 minutes, if you can stretch in 5 minutes, go ahead and do that. Guess what? You can even pray in those 5 minutes. And this might sound funny, but you can even breathe in 5 minutes. Some box breathing or just deep breathing, just breathe. Don't think about anything. Don't touch nothing. Don't write nothing. Don't calculate nothing. Don't move nothing. Don't plan nothing. Just breathe, because burnout doesn't happen overnight. Burnout is not a all of a sudden thing. It is build up. That's how you get burned out. And if you think of it as a candle, if you're burning the wick on both ends, the candle wax is just melting, and then you have nothing left. And if in the case of a candle, when you're burning on one end, you keep burning the candle, it's going to burn out. Right? So you gotta cut that wicker, or put that little cup over it. I forgot the little bell looking thing, and you just put on the candle, and it wipes it stops the flame from blowing, right? It's not overnight. It's not sudden. It happens when we ignore our limits. So when it comes to mental health, we need to make sure that we know our limits. Psalm 46:10 says that, "Be still and know that I am God." Stillness is scriptural. Stillness is healthy. Stillness is productive. There's things that you can do and learn about yourself when you just sit in stillness. There's things and messages that you can hear. There's words of God that can be poured into you when you are still. And so as we talk about stillness, we want to say that spiritual self-care is staying connected to the source. Can I lovingly say something to you as we're staying connected to the source? Devotion is not another item on your to-do list. It's your lifeline. Prayer, worship, scripture, stillness. These aren't obligations, they're opportunities to reconnect. Because if your business grows faster than your spirit, you'll feel successful and empty at the same time, right? Spiritual self-care is staying connected to the source, not just when you need something, but daily. Point 4, time management is really energy management. This was a game changer for me. Time management, I still struggle, but guess what? Time management is not. Time management is not squeezing more into your day, right? We're like, oh, if we do, I just can't, 24, what is the saying? It's just not an hour. It's just not enough hours in a day. No, there's 24. Everybody gets them. And you need to be able to manage to those 24 hours that you get and not try to squeeze more into your day. It's just to manage the time that you do have. And when you're able to do that, it's protecting your energy. And not every task deserves your best hours. Not every email needs an immediate response, because I'm not even going to talk about my inbox. But if you haven't, I have a friend, let me see, I'm talking, speaking for a friend. And every time an email comes in, they're trying to respond. So they have email, zero inbox, right? Inbox zero. And that's actually one of the workshops that, was it a workshop? No, I think it's a planner. We do have a inbox zero planner to help you to work out a system to get to zero in your inbox, right? And that's a good habit to have. You want to start off with clean, because that clutter, that visual clutter, still messes with your mind. So even though it's not physical, it's not in your room, it's not in your head, it's on the email, but that is still clutter that can really impact your mental health. So while cleaning out your inbox may be a very important thing, there is an opportunity to leave it until tomorrow. Not every email needs a response the same day. Not every email is urgent. And I'm not saying go ahead and save every email for 10 months. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying just temper the time that you give to certain projects so that you're not overwhelmed, because not every opportunity deserves a yes. You got to be able to say no. You got to learn your rhythms. When are you most creative, right? Is it in the morning? I'm not a morning person. Or is it in the afternoon? Are you a night owl? When are you most focused? Is it between the hours of 11 and 2? Well, then that's the time that you want to probably get to working. When do you feel like you need breaks? After working 25 minutes and take a 5-minute break, like the Pomodoro method we talked about? Or, if you need longer breaks, like in the workforce, you take 15-minute breaks. If you feel like you need that, then you need that. What you need to do is make sure that you're protecting your peak hours. Those are your money makers. You want to be able to batch tasks and use timers if you need to. And you have to give yourself permission to stop. Sometimes I get caught up with, I'm almost done. Let me just 10 more minutes. 10 more minutes turns into 60, right? I used a whole nother hour trying to make sure that I got it done. And then what happens is I got it done right? And then trying to get it perfect. And, you wind up spending so much more time than you needed to. And now something else has either got delayed, pushed back, or just knocked off the calendar altogether because you were focusing not on what needs to be done, but what you felt you had to do, right? And because productivity without boundaries eventually turns into burnout, you really have to be careful with this. Really have to be careful. And speaking of boundaries, we got to know that boundaries are an act of love, because boundaries aren't punishment. Some people might think, oh, she don't want to talk to me before 10 a.m. or, she doesn't want me to. No, don't worry about all that. You have to, this is not punishment to the other person. This is you protecting yourself, protecting your time. And sometimes boundaries mean that no work will occur after a certain time. No, madam client, you cannot call me after 5 p.m. No, you cannot send me texts at 11:30 p.m. Those are boundaries, not to be mean to them, but it's to be able to respect your time and your health and your mental health. Because if you're the type of person who has your ringer on all night, I'm not. Mine goes off. And if you have your ringer on all night and you have people pinging and pinging and pinging you, you might feel obligated or to answer or to pick up your phone and to respond. Oh, I didn't miss that. Oh, I missed that. I didn't know. And let me do this right now. It's 12:30 in the morning. You don't need to do that right now. No, you don't. You know, we don't need to be answering emails at midnight. And we definitely don't need to be overcommitting. Yes, I can do that. Yes, I'll be there. No. Saying yes when your spirit is saying no, we don't want that. And yes, sometimes boundaries, guess what? They go for your family too. We talked about that in one of our previous lessons. And it's not because we don't love them, right? We still love our families, but we need uninterrupted time to work. So we need to establish those boundaries. Like for me, when I'm doing my show, I put a sign on the door: "Do not disturb." So people know that's what I'm doing. I put it on my calendar so the family knows that's what I'm doing. And because your business doesn't get unlimited access to you, right? Your family typically does, but your business doesn't get unlimited access to every moment of your life. So we don't want it to. We want those boundaries so our business, we be able to turn off the business switch and turn on the family switch, or just be able to let the family know, hey, I'm working on business these particular hours so that we can get work done. And boundaries actually help us love people without losing ourselves, right? If we constantly addressing all of the family things while we're trying to get business done, then we're not getting business done. And then sometimes we might feel resentment towards our family, like they don't respect my time and I'm trying to get things done and I want to do, or they don't support me in my business because they're always interrupting me to do this and do that. That's why you have to communicate with your family. We talked about bringing your family in the loop when we talked about F for our BFFs. So there's so many things that we can do to make sure that we set aside that time. And Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. And there is a time to work and there's a time to rest. Both are holy. Okay? Both. Rest and work. Because I heard somewhere in the Bible it said, if you don't work, you don't eat. So work is holy. And then faith without works, right? So work is holy, yes, but so is rest. And it's very important. So let me ask you something. Which area of self-care needs your attention right now? Would it be your physical, your mental, your spiritual? Is it boundaries? Is it time management? Drop one word in the chat. Go ahead. Judgment-free zone. This is just for awareness, to see where our community is and to see if you are even aware of where you need the most rest. Because awareness in itself is where healing begins, right? That saying, that TV show, whatever it was, commercial, knowing is half the battle. Once you know, then you can address it. And I want you to hear this. You do not have to earn rest. There is no such thing. You do not have to earn peace. You do not have to earn the right to take care of yourself. That is a God-given right. You are not a machine. All this AI that's going on, you are not that. You are a human being. You are a woman. You may even be a wife, a mother, a daughter of God, and you deserve the same grace that you freely give to everyone else. Okay? I want you to know that. If you haven't already, I want you to go ahead and also drop a comment, comment, subscribe, share this episode with your business besties. Connect with us at the Digimompreneur on all of your social media platforms of Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Join our community at the MompreneurHQ if you haven't already. We want you to come into a place where you can experience your BFFs, business, faith, family, and self-care. And as we wrap up this first episode of talking about self-care, this week, I don't want you to overhaul your life. I'm not asking you to turn every stone, but I just want you to choose one thing, whether it be to drink more water, take a walk, get more rest, go to bed early, set a boundary, even try the Pomodoro method that I talked about. Whatever it is, take a break. If you decide to pray before you scroll, because if you notice that, oh, I'm getting ready to hit this Instagram, let me pray first. Whatever that is, choose one thing, because self-care should not and is not another burden. It is a gift. It is something that you are in charge of. You have been designated as the steward of your body. And mama, you matter too. All right. I want to thank you for spending time with me as we break down these BFFs for the MompreneurHQ community. And we're going to continue with our BFFs pillar and with our series, Permission to Rest, letting go of mom guilt and embracing margin. Because sometimes the greatest act of self-care isn't doing more, it's giving yourself permission to do less. Until next time.